There's something unusual about Kris Jenner reducing Corey Gamble's allowance to $10,000 a month. Hi, before we continue, please subscribe to the channel for all Kardashians news and update. There have been a lot of talks online about something unusual going on between Kris Jenner and her longtime partner, Corey Gamble. Many people are trying to understand why there are reports that Kris has decided to reduce the amount of money she gives Corey every month to just $10,000. This decision is making people curious because Corey is not someone who works directly for Kris, and he already has his own successful career. So the idea that he's receiving an allowance from her, and that it's been reduced, has left many confused and questioning what's really going on. Kris Jenner and Corey Gamble have been together for quite a long time now. They met at a party back in 2014 when Kris was going through a tough breakup with her former partner, Caitlyn Jenner. At that time, Corey was already doing well for himself as a talent manager in the music business. But ever since he started dating Kris, his lifestyle seemed to become even more luxurious. The couple has traveled around the world together, enjoyed fine things, and been seen at many high-end events. Kris has clearly opened the doors of her lavish world to Corey, and they've become almost inseparable. Now, despite Corey having his own job and being financially stable before meeting Kris, there are claims that he's been receiving a monthly amount from her for a long time. Recently, rumors have started spreading that Kris has started watching her spending more closely, and one of the changes she's made is to cut back on how much money she gives Corey each month. This information came from a source who spoke to Life and Style magazine. According to the source, Kris has become very concerned about her money situation and has started looking for ways to reduce her expenses. One of those ways, it seems, has involved reducing Corey's monthly income from her. The source claimed that Kris has been getting worried about her bank account and felt the need to make some financial cuts. However, they added that Kris wasn't willing to give up her love for luxury items like her collection of expensive wines. So instead of cutting those out of her budget, she chose to reduce the amount she gives Corey. The source also claimed that Corey has been receiving money from Kris for about 10 years, which surprised many people because Corey actually works for a company called SB Projects. This company is owned by Scooter Braun, the same person who was involved in a public issue with Taylor Swift over her music rights. So technically, Corey doesn't work for Kris, and his paycheck shouldn't really be coming from her in the first place. Reports say that Corey's monthly payment has now been reduced to just $10,000. But this is what doesn't quite make sense to people. Before he even met Kris, Corey had already made a name for himself. He was successful in the music industry and had worked with big stars like Justin Bieber. In fact, around August 2014, the same year he met Kris, Corey was already part of Bieber's management team. He was a self-made millionaire, so the idea that he was depending on Kris for an allowance is strange to many fans. Also, when Corey started appearing on Kris's reality shows like Keeping Up with the Kardashians and their newer Hulu series, The Kardashians, he likely got paid just like the rest of the cast. That means he was making money on his own from being on the show, not just through Kris. So it seems unlikely that he would need or even expect a monthly payment from her just to be in a relationship. This is why many people believe that Corey is not someone who depends on Kris for money. He has his own career and sources of income, so the idea that she's giving him an allowance and cutting it back now sounds very questionable. Some people think this might all just be a way to create more interest around the show or to spark new drama. After all, Kris is known for being a very smart businesswoman who knows how to keep people talking. It's possible that these rumors are being used to bring more attention to their show, especially now that some fans have been saying that the latest episodes feel less exciting. With the 6th season of their Hulu show already planned, the family might be looking for new ways to keep people interested. Despite all the rumors and talk about her being more careful with money, Kris still has a very large amount of wealth. She's earned a lot from her years of working in reality TV. According to some sources, Kris made about $25 million just from the first 2 seasons of their new Hulu series. On top of that, she earned between $5 to $7 million for each season of the original, Keeping Up with the Kardashians show. So it's clear that she is still doing very well financially. However, some people believe that the world of streaming is starting to change, and Kris may be noticing that the future isn't as predictable as it used to be. One source mentioned that even though Kris wants the family's show to continue for a long time, the reality of how money works in streaming is starting to affect her decisions. The audience has been asking for more interesting stories and more excitement, and if they don't get it, the show might start to lose viewers. This could be making Kris think more seriously about her spending and the future of her business. All this talk about Kris cutting back on Kory's money has left fans wondering what's really going on behind the scenes. Is it true that she's worried about money? Or is this just another story being used to bring attention to the show? Some fans believe that this might be just another way of keeping the Kardashians in the news. Others think it could be a genuine decision by Kris to be more responsible with her spending, especially if she's thinking about the long-term future. But even if Kris is cutting back on some of her spending, it doesn't necessarily mean she's having money problems. She may just be trying to be smarter with how she uses her money. And as for Kory, he seems like someone who knows how to take care of himself. He had a solid career before Kris and probably still has his own goals and projects that keep him busy. Whether or not he is receiving money from her, Kory likely has other ways of supporting himself and living comfortably. It's important to remember that celebrities often face a lot of rumors and false stories. Not everything we hear about their lives is always true. Sometimes, small things get exaggerated or taken out of context. And with a family as famous as the Kardashians, stories about their personal lives often get turned into entertainment for the public. So while it's interesting to hear about Kris making changes to her budget and possibly giving Kory less money, it's hard to know exactly what's true. In the end, Kris and Kory's relationship has lasted a long time in a world where many celebrity couples don't stay together for very long. They seem to enjoy each other's company and have traveled and worked together for years. Whether or not Kris is really giving Kory an allowance, and whether or not she's reduced it, might not be the most important thing. What matters is how they treat each other and what kind of relationship they have. Fans will likely continue to guess and talk about what's going on. That's just part of being in the public eye. And as long as the Kardashians continue to be part of our screens, these types of stories will probably keep popping up. Whether it's about money, relationships, or the future of their show, there will always be something to talk about when it comes to this famous family. So while the rumor about Kris cutting Kory's monthly amount might seem strange, it might also just be another part of their ongoing story. It could be true, or it could just be one of the many stories made to keep people watching and talking. Thanks for watching. Please do well to share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more Kardashian updates.